Oh, now we can't hear you.
Oh, I think we've
I'm
lost
not sure what happened.
Now?
Now I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, so I'm ready to start.
Okay.
Okay, so first I just wanted a little introduction to introduce myself. My name's Whitnie Leiss. I recently got into teaching. Last year was my first full school year as a paraprofessional, which I loved. I graduated from Idaho State University and now here at Boise State trying to get my master's. Been married 3.5 years and we have one dog. And I'm excited to start the program. So we want to now talk about why do I want to teach here or anywhere. I really feel like I can make a positive impact on the students' lives that I work with. I have a passion for helping others, and as a teacher, I can turn that passion into a career. And I want to be able to teach students so they can reach their full potential. I sometimes some kids get lost and fall behind, and I want to make sure that I help them and help them succeed in their endeavors and their goals. Next would be my goals as an educator. I want to be able to establish and foster a learning environment that is best and works well for my students that I'm working with. I want to be able to provide a learning environment that is free of judgments, so they can come in and feel confident in when they are learning. I want to be able to help my students find out who they are, what skills they have, and how to apply these skills and how to apply this knowledge of themselves so they can be a better person. And last thing is I just, once again, just want to really make a positive impact on these kids. Right now I work with kids that have a lot of behavior issues, and it's cool to see when you make a positive impact because they remember, oh yeah, you're right, you taught me how to count to 10 or whatever it is we're helping them with. So that's awesome to me. I love seeing them succeed. My strengths and weaknesses. So I'm a very patient person. I don't get upset very easily, and I know that it can be very challenging at times when you're working with kids with special needs. And it's good to be able to stay focused on them and not get upset and have feelings get in the way when I'm trying to help them learn and provide that learning environment that's safe for them. I also get along well with others. My coworkers would probably agree. I'm always offering to grade papers for them or help them in any way. Since I'm a paraprofessional, we're not full where we don't have a class all the time. It's nice to get out and help the coworkers, and it builds team rapport and helps everyone feel happy about where we're at in teaching. And last is I have a passion for teaching these kids with special needs. I feel like you have to have passion to be able to go to work every day and help these kids, because some of the kids are just where I work with behaviors, some it works out and others it doesn't work out, and so you have to just remember to stay focused and keep that drive. Even though one student may have fallen off, you may have helped 2 or 3 other students at the same time. And my weaknesses, I have found as a para, I get lost in working with the students, and so I need to practice on making sure I'm allocating enough time for each student and not too much time on one student and not another student not getting enough time. And then, of course, I need to develop the teaching skills to be able to teach special education, which is why I'm here at the taking this master's course so that I can get those skills. And then last, my professional goals. I hope to one day be making special education decisions at a state level. I'm not entirely sure what that looks like yet, since I'm still like in the learning process. So I hope that through this program I can kind of figure out, okay, that's what it is when you're working at the state level, and see be able to help others that would be in my shoes once they're coming up as well, and help give them advice and work with them. And any questions?
Yeah, that was great. Good job, Whitney. Yes, we have a couple of questions for you. Do you want to start or do you want me to?
Do you have a question?
Yeah.
Go ahead and start. Yeah.
So you talked about how you work to build that community and build rapport with your colleagues by offering to support them and really working with your team. Talk to us about a situation where maybe your team members didn't necessarily agree with a strategy you were using with a student or an approach, and kind of how you guys moved through that disagreement to find what happened as a result of that.
Okay. Yeah. Being a para and working in PBI, we have a lot of times at the end of situations, we actually go through and talk about what could be done differently, why someone did this one way, why someone did the other way. I like to say more patient with the kids and more calm with the kids. And I have a coworker that she feels that you should be more strict and stay on task and straightforward coworker. And so, which nothing wrong with that. That's her way of connecting and helping the kids. And so I was helping a student, and he was yelling at me, which is normal for PBI, but I'm still talking with him, trying to work with him because he's just frustrated because he can't figure out the math problem. And she came in and she was like, "Oh no, what are you doing? If he yells at you, you shouldn't talk to him at all. Just make him go sit over there and wait till he's done yelling." And I was like, "Well, it's not. He's not mad at me. He's just mad at the problem, and I'm not gonna punish him because he's frustrated that he can't figure out the problem, because he was a transfer in from our school, and so his other school, he'd been a little because of his behaviors, he'd been kicked out of class for most of the learning for the last year, and so he was behind by a whole year, and he was frustrated that he had to be behind for a whole year. Afterwards, after he left, I talked to her and I was like, I get that that's your approach and how you approach things, but I like to be a little more nice and make a connection with them before I start trying to lay down the law, because he is a new student. And she was apologetic and understood. She was like, yeah, I may have overstepped my boundaries a little. And I was like, yeah, it's fine. It happens. I mean, I'm sure I'll do it from time to time as well. But our team we're really close. So when I got hired, they were like, we don't like to hide secrets from anybody or keep anyone out of the loop. So if you see something that you don't understand or you don't agree with, always bring it up and say, hey, why did you do it this way? Or why did you do that? Or things like that. And I think that's really what you have to keep a team working. And with special ed, it's very important to be able to have that open communication with your team.
Yeah, absolutely. It sounds like you guys have a good team for you to be able to, you guys to discuss something like that with such different approaches and have a good outcome, even for you guys as the adults. So that's great. Thank you.
Yeah, it sounds like communication is very strong on your team, which is good. It doesn't happen that way all the time. So it sounds like that's something that you'll take away possibly to your new teaching position, is keeping that communication open. What are 2 other things you've learned as a para, aside from that strong communication, that you'll take to your role as a special education teacher?
Yeah, my boss, well, my manager, not the principal, but my manager that is over us, she really fosters like a loving environment when the kids come in. She has taught me that for kids to be able to learn and trust you and listen to you and take advice from you, you have to build a relationship with them first. That should be something that I'll take with me as a para, to remember, okay, what's the issue with the student? Oh, maybe it's because they don't trust me yet. I haven't built that relationship with them yet. And another thing is just keeping the balance between being overly firm and overly nice. It's at times you run into situations where you have to be strict, you have to be strong on the students, and then at other times when you need to be nice and when you need to show that you care about them. It's a tricky balance, and that's something I'm still practicing as well and learning, but I think that will be important to be successful as a special education teacher as well.
It's great. I love that you recognize that, because I think that the more you think about it, the more you might find your balance if you can actually be lovingly firm in a way and set those boundaries. So I love that you're already reflecting on that. That's great.
Yeah, that's really good. So thinking about the areas of growth that you identified for yourself, so time management and kind of making sure that the time doesn't get away from you when you're working with students, which can happen, especially if things are going really well. What kind of strategies have you found that have worked, or that some things that you've considered trying to increase your time management skills? Because there'll definitely be a lot of balls in the air, a lot of things to juggle as the teacher that you don't necessarily have in your role as a paraeducator.
Right. I think one thing that's something that we've kind of had some discussions about in a couple of the other classes is allocating your time. One suggestion, which I thought was actually a really good idea, would be to set like timers in your phone or a timer on your desk or wherever, so you can remember, maybe, and it's just not like loud, just like one beep or like a vibrate or something. So you're like, oh, okay, it's been 20 minutes. I got to go do this, or I have to go help another student, or I have to meet, all right, now it's time for me to go work on paperwork. As the special education teacher, at ours, I know the two lead teachers, they make the schedule for the groups and everything. So that'd be something to work on, as well as creating a schedule for myself and sticking to that schedule and trying to make sure that I'm check marking off the things as I get them done and as I go through the schedule, and with the timer would help as well, just to be something to refresh my memory of the time frame and things like that.
Great.
Great.
Anything else?
No, I think that's it from me.
Okay. What questions do you have for us?
I'm going to stop recording it.
Okay.